Since I moved to Nairobi, just I really learned what a hustler is. The racism that I experienced outside of Africa just really became overwhelming for me. But when I moved to Kenya, when I moved to Africa, I just felt at peace and at home. These events, there's brunches, there's nightlife, there's golfing, there's literally everything. I even found out that there was a polo club. A polo club in Kenya. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Rochelle. I'm an African American living in Nairobi, Kenya, and I repatriated to Africa, specifically Nairobi, 3 months ago. And today I'm going to be talking about how living in Africa and moving to Africa changed me as a person, okay? Before we get started, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, go head over to my TikTok. The link is going to be in the bio. I have over 114,000 subscribers or followers on TikTok. Also, please check out my Instagram so that we can diversify and you can consume all of my amazing content, okay? So let's get into it. Today's video is also going to be a get ready with me. I'm going to be doing my makeup here. So if you see me looking up, down, and side to side, it's because I'm looking for everything I need to beat my face, okay? So, yes, let's start with, where should we start first? Let's start with my social life, okay? Moving to Africa has improved my social life, specifically Nairobi, Kenya, because there's always something to do. If you didn't know, I'm 30 years old, I'm single, I'm childless, living my best life, pursuing my entrepreneurial journey, and just trying to be a better me. So I'm at the phase of life where being social is very important. I have a lot of flexibility. I have a lot of free time. When I'm not working on my businesses, I pretty much, can be as social as I want to be. And Nairobi is the best place for that because there's always something to do. There's always people to meet. And my social life has improved drastically, especially because also, if you didn't know this, I lived in Brazil before I moved to Nairobi. I lived in Brazil for 2 years, and although eu falo Portuguese, I speak Portuguese, I am not fluent in Portuguese. So that was a little bit difficult for me because even in situations where I really wanted to be social and I really wanted to build community and I really wanted to make friends, I was limited. And it was just sad. It's not a good feeling to want to be social, but you're limited due to language barriers. But Nairobi, that's not a problem at all. And there's so many fun things to do. There's an organization called the Social Tournament, which has events every month where you can meet new people. It's literally created for new people that want to meet other people. And that is amazing. I also have joined an Expat group, which is always sharing parties, events. There's brunches, there's nightlife, there's golfing, there's literally everything. I even found out that there was a polo club. A polo club in Kenya, like I would have never imagined. There's a polo club. There's so much diversity here, even capoeira. There's so much cultural diversity. There's so many options. People are so friendly, and there's so much to do. You really don't have any excuse for just not wanting to be social. So let me get into my makeup. This is something that I actually got here in Nashi. I found this in Nairobi actually, and I like the setting spray before I get started on my makeup. So yes, I was invited to actually go to golfing class, and I don't think that would be a bad idea to do in the future because I heard that golfing is great for networking, and I just never would have imagined that I would actually be considering like golfing. Before I came to Nairobi, golfing was not on my radar at all. But now I'm actually considering like going to golfing class. Like, what? That just shows you how culturally diverse Nairobi can be. Okay, so I got my foundation laid here. Let's get into number 2, okay? Another thing that has really changed a lot for me is that I drink a lot more tea. here in East Africa specifically. I've always loved tea, don't get me wrong, but sometimes if you're living in a country or a city that just doesn't have a strong tea culture, even if you love tea, you just don't drink it a lot, right? But here in Nairobi, in East Africa and Kenya in general, there's a very strong tea culture, which I love because I've been drinking tea every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. This cup of tea, this is my second cup of tea today, okay? And I love it because the tea here is so fresh. I like using like locally sourced tea in Kenya, of course. And as a tea lover, I kind of like grew out of, my tea phase because there's wasn't a strong tea culture in the places that I was in. But in Nairobi, there's a strong tea culture. There's a lot of options. The tea is delicious. And so that's one thing that I've noticed. I have been consuming a lot more tea and even coffee. Like, I'm not a huge coffee person, but I've also been consuming coffee a lot more than I used to because the coffee is just so delicious here. They have Ethiopian coffee shops, which is amazing. The coffee in Ethiopia was one of my favorite things when I visited there. I'm also going to be making another video about the things that I loved visiting Ethiopia, so stay tuned for that. But yes, the tea and coffee culture is lit and I am loving it here. And that's one thing that I noticed changed immediately after I came to Nairobi. I started drinking 2 or 3 or 4 cups of tea every day. Another thing that I noticed has changed about myself is that I had to really tap into my inner patience and I guess my inner softness because if you didn't know, I backpacked through 11 African countries prior to repatriating to Africa. So I had experience traveling throughout Africa and just experiencing many different types of African cultures and even backpacking through Africa. It is an amazing challenge, but it does force you to tap into deep levels of patience that you never even knew that you had. Okay, living in Africa, living in Nairobi really helped me tap into my patience and also like really practice my gentleness and I guess my softness because I have noticed, and also I have like Kenyan friends who are women who have told me that like sometimes as a woman in Africa you have to be gentle to get ahead. Like you can't always be like, give me this, give me that, like, basically I have Kenyan friends who have taught me that being gentle and being soft can get you a lot farther than the American way of doing things. And I have been like tapping into that a little bit and it works. So shout out to my Kenyan homegirls who put me on game because there's been times where I was in like, situations and I tried to do things the way that I was used to doing them. But my homegirls was just like, no, let me show you how it's done, and they basically showed me how to get things that you want by being soft and I guess you could say submissive. And so that is also one thing that I've noticed since I have moved here. I have been mastering the art of being soft and feminine to get things done or just to, fit into the culture as well. Like, I do think that that is a little bit of part of the culture because a lot of people romanticize America and they just think America is like the land of milk and honey, the land of the free, blah, blah, blah. But America is a hard country. And sometimes you do have to adopt some traits, just to be able to survive. As an African American, there are some traits that I had to learn and had to develop just so I wouldn't be taken advantage of, just to survive in America. And if you romanticize America, where you just think America is like this perfect country, you may not understand, but if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. So yeah, that's just to say patience, gentleness, softness is something that I've been learning and working on since repatriating to Africa, because it, as a woman, it does get you a lot further, especially in societies that are very, very patriarchal. So I'm gonna sharpen my eyebrow pencil because I did not do that before the video. If I can even find a sharpener. Sorry for the intermission. Yo. So another change that I noticed about myself is my work ethic. Okay, I will admit, again, I lived in Brazil previous to coming to Kenya, and in Brazil, I was living a very lackadaisical life. Let's just put it like that. I lived in a beach town along the coast, and a lot of beach towns have a reputation for being very laid back. I think it's just maybe the ocean water, just it makes people relax. It makes people just I guess, I don't know, trust the flow of life. I don't know. But yeah, prior to coming to Nairobi, I lived in a beach town in Brazil. And also, Brazil is a culture that is very focused on fun, and partying and pleasure. So I'm saying that to say, I had a poor work ethic, okay? I had a poor work ethic, I will admit it. If I woke up one day and I just decided that I didn't want to work, it is what it is. Like, that's the attitude I had living in Brazil, because it was a beach town. I think it's a Brazilian culture as well. Like, and that's kind of the lifestyle and the attitude that I had adopted. And one of the reasons I chose Nairobi is because Nairobi is a big city, and I felt like it would kind of like motivate me to get my life back on track. And I definitely think that it did. If you're an entrepreneur, especially like a young entrepreneur, and you want to move to like a fast-paced environment, just that will motivate you to hustle, Nairobi is the place for you. Because since I moved to Nairobi, just I really learned what a hustler is. I was reminded of what a hustler is, because we hustle in America too, don't get it twisted. But my work ethic had kind of gone by the wayside over the last couple of years. But moving to Nairobi, moving to Africa, I really saw how much of a hard worker people are. And it really motivated me to get my stuff together, and do what I needed to do to reach the goals that I said I wanted to reach. Because I have a lot of goals and aspirations, but even in Brazil, I had a lot of goals and aspirations, but unfortunately, I didn't have the discipline to get them done. But ever since I moved to Nairobi, I have been hustling, and I really had to hold myself accountable for my poor work ethic. Yeah, so that's one thing that I realized, like, seeing so many people work so hard in Nairobi really motivated me just to get on my Zoom and to get my ish together. Because even like when I first got here, I was chatting with a Kenyan YouTuber, and he was telling me like there's a lot of YouTubers that post 2 or 3 times a day. And I was just like, a day? I struggle. I struggle to post 2 or 3 times a week. And there's Kenyan YouTubers working their asses off, posting 2 or 3 times a day. I don't even know any American YouTubers that post 2 or 3 times a day. People are working hard. People are working hard out here, y'all. People are hustling their asses off out here, y'all. And that is another thing that I like realized, and it made me step my game up. And it's a process. When you go from living like a very, very laid back lifestyle to trying to transition into like a hustle lifestyle, it is a process, but I think I'm on a great track and I am achieving goals that I said I wanted to achieve due to the work that I'm putting in to achieve the goals that I said I wanted to achieve, which previously living in Brazil, it's like I had all these goals I wanted to achieve. You know, I had all these aspirations and things that I claimed that I wanted to do, but I wasn't putting in the work. You know, that's the difference. But moving to Africa, seeing people hustle, especially moving to a big city like Nairobi, which is such a hustle culture. Yeah, I really stepped up my work ethic and my life has like improved and my work ethic has improved since living here. And so, yeah, thank you, Nairobi, for reminding me of, you know, I still got the hustle in me. Because when I was living in the United States, I was hustling. But after living in Latin America, I was living in Latin America for over 4 years. I did adopt more of a relaxed, you know, kind of procrastinator type lifestyle. But moving to Africa, moving to Nairobi, did remind me that like I'm a hustler and I need to hustle for the dreams and the aspirations that I want. So yeah, that's one thing that changed about me since moving to Africa, and I just feel a lot better about myself knowing that I am putting in the work and I'm achieving the goals that I said I wanted to achieve. And it's funny because I've noticed that there's two types of expats. There's two types of like, you know, repatriates that repatriate to Africa. There's the type that repatriate to Africa to retire and because they want to leave the rat race and because they're trying to take, you know, their time out to rest and relax and get in tune, you know, with themselves. And then there's the type of repatriate that repatriates to Africa to get shit done and to hustle. And so that's also one thing that I've realized here. And I will say I'm definitely the latter. I don't need to relax anymore. Okay, like that I'm just being honest. My lifestyle was so relaxed in the past. I relaxation is just not a priority for me right now. That's just the truth. I'm here to hustle. There are repatriates that really come here to get shit done and to, you know, break into whatever field they're trying to break into and do what they need to do. And I'm one of those. So yeah, that's another reason why I say like my work ethic has been challenged in Africa and has elevated to the next level. And I love that for me because sometimes you do need to be challenged to be pushed outside of your comfort zone. So yeah. All right. Gonna finish this other eyebrow and then we're gonna get into the next one. So I had to finish my makeup off camera because I was so busy talking to you guys. I was running behind. But yes, here is the final look. Just something light, something slight, you know. So yes, the last point that I wanted to talk about was my active lifestyle. Moving to Africa motivated me to be more active and to also prioritize my health. I was beginning to start my health journey, even in Latin America before I repatriated to Africa. But moving to Africa allowed me to take it more seriously because I was able to hire a personal trainer at an affordable rate. And also in Kenya, I would say generally speaking, they have a very balanced diet. Like ugali, spinach, and beef stew is like one of their staples. And even the street food, like it's not as bad as in other countries. So Kenyans, they typically have like more of a balanced diet, which made eating healthier a lot more accessible and easier for me. And even the eating out, like there's a lot of food diversity here. And like I said, I was able to hire a personal trainer. I've been going to the gym a lot more consistently. I actually worked out consistently for 1 whole month with my personal trainer. And that is the longest time that I have been working out consistently in a very, very long time. In the past, I would say that I wanted to get in shape. I would say that I wanted to, improve my health, but I would work out maybe a week, or maybe a few days and then give up. But since I moved to Africa, I've hired a personal trainer. I've been working out consistently. I've been making some progress eating healthier, some progress. I ain't gonna cap. That's still a journey. But yes, that is another huge change that I've noticed in myself. I've been able to take my health journey a lot more seriously. And I think one factor to that is also the fact that I have been able to be a little bit less stressed here. Like, even though I am working more and I'm working towards my goals more, I also feel less stressed. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about that I almost forgot about, which is actually one of the most important parts, is the racism. Living in Brazil, Brazil is one of the most racist countries in the Americas. If you don't know the history behind it, it was the last country in the Americas to abolish slavery. And Afro-Brazilian culture is very strong there and very beautiful. Afro-Brazilian culture is a very beautiful culture, but they still face a lot of racism and discrimination and prejudice and just, atrocities similar to African Americans, right? So the racism in Brazil and even South America in general, because I did visit Colombia for a little bit, it just became really daunting and overwhelming. And it's just like, living abroad, I live abroad because I enjoy experiencing cultures and I enjoy, immersing myself in cultures and pursuing a higher quality life than the one that I had in the United States. But the amount of racism that I was experiencing in Brazil, in South America, was worse than any racism that I had experienced in the United States. And it really made me reflect with myself. Why am I doing this? The whole purpose of living abroad is to find happiness and to find peace and improve my quality of life. But if I'm facing more racism, whether it be microaggressions or macroaggressions or everything in between, what am I doing this for? What am I doing here? So yeah, the racism that I experienced outside of Africa just really became overwhelming for me. But when I moved to Kenya, when I moved to Africa, I just felt at peace and at home because I was surrounded by Black people and I knew that racism was just not something that I would have had to worry about anymore. And it was like a huge weight had been lifted off of my shoulders. So I'm super glad that I did not forget to include that, because racism is also another thing that I realized I didn't have to battle with anymore. And it changed the way that I view the world, the way that I operate. It reduced my stress and significantly improved my quality of life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.